Hello and welcome everyone to this latest edition of Can Talk. Today we'll be diving into an insightful discussion on the counselor's perspective, exploring what influences students and parents when making decisions about studying abroad, specifically from the country of Pakistan. My name is Saqib, and it truly is a pleasure to have you all with us. A big thank you to our esteemed panelists for taking the time to share their expertise with us today. At CAN International, our mission is to guide and support young minds on their journey to studying abroad. Through discussions like this, we aim to provide valuable insights that help students make informed decisions about their higher education. Let's introduce our distinguished panel. Joining us from the Head Start School in Islamabad, Pakistan, we have Aisha Waheed, who is the head counselor at the institution. Next, we have international education leader and, as usual, moderating today's session is Khwaja Umam, co-founder and director of CAN International with over a decade of professional experience in international education. He is a regular attendee at prestigious IEM conferences such as NAFSA, AIRC, and IACAC. Thank you all once again for being here, and let's dive straight into the discussion. Over to you, Khwaja. Khwaja, you're on mute, I think.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, thank you so much, Saqib. And it's absolutely wonderful to have these fine ladies joining us straight from Pakistan. And these are seasoned counselors, and we will soon be hearing very, very interesting insights about what students think, what parents think, and what are the factors that, you know, uh, come into play when they are making those decisions of sending students and sending their children outside their country. All right, so before we dive into this very, very interesting interaction, I would request both our ladies to introduce themselves very briefly to the audience. And to the audience, a very good morning for people who are joining us from the US and Europe. And it's obviously a very good evening to those who are listening to us from this part of the world. All right, so may I now invite Itrat, could you just introduce yourself to us, followed by Aisha?
Thank you so much, Khwaja and Saki, both of you, and CAN Education for, giving me this opportunity to share my views on a couple of things today. So I've been a career counselor for almost 10 years, and like Aisha know, whenever I introduce myself, I always say I'm a passionate counselor, and I chose to be a counselor. So I really enjoy my work, and I really, cherish the difference I can make in my students' life. And over a decade, I would say scores of my students went abroad and studied around the world on prestigious scholarships, and they've won the wonderful opportunities, and it's absolute privilege to be a counselor. That's all I could say for now. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Itrat. And yes, over to you, Aisha.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to extend my sincere, words for you to invite me for this opportunity today. And Idris and I know each other from the past 10 years, I would say, since I have also completed a decade. And it's going to be my 11th year in this June in the guidance counseling profession. So it has always been a very rewarding journey working with the students, placing them to the top colleges internationally. It's equally rewarding for us to see them, get going beyond what they've been dreaming about, and achieving what they ever wanted to, and we have been in that journey throughout. So I'm by profession a clinical psychologist, but somehow I landed into college guidance counseling, and I just fallen in love with it, and I couldn't stop working in this. It has been a monotonous journey. It's been 11 years, but I am not yet tired. Yeah.
Well, that's absolutely wonderful to hear, how passionate you both are. And it's totally understandable that the students that you guide and counsel are in absolute safe hands. All right. So before we, dive into our set of interactive questions, before both the ladies, I let we have this, quick fact sheet about students going out to the US from Pakistan, and this, of course, the source is the Open Doors. So, and we can see that last few years, there is a significant rise, and over 10,000 students back to back, going to the US, and therefore there is that increased interest, of universities, flocking to Pakistan more now. And when I was at NAFSA, I was meeting Kathy Aziz, who heads the Education USA there, and she was vetting this, and I had like first-hand information from her as well on this trend. And for the regions in the US, I mean, Texas, New York, Massachusetts, California are not new to me. These are most of the countries from this part of the world choose these states, and actually those states reflect in there. What is encouraging to see that not only graduate students but also undergrad students are taking interest in exploring higher ed opportunities at that stage. So so that's very, very, very interesting, that you come across. And of course, I feel that given the population and the there is a lot of potential, and we'll of course be talking more with them on this aspect, that there is a lot of hidden potential in Pakistan that still needs to be tapped. All right, so without any further ado, let me dive straight into our questions for this evening. And my first question would be to Itrat. And so, Itrat, what are the trends that you see among students and you both have obviously over a decade of experience. So what is that trend you see when they are choosing destinations? I mean, whether it's US, whether it's UK, Australia. So can you shed some light on that, please?
Thank you so much, Khwaja. This is a wonderful question. And I think it's it's a talk of town. Because whenever our students are picking the destinations for their study, obviously we're a third world country. We don't have a very flourishing economy. So number one would be budget. Number two would be because we come from a country which is struggling economically, and we have other financial issues and all kind of hiccups at the moment. So whenever we are choosing a country for our students, or parents or students are choosing for themselves, the first thing that comes into play is their budget, and then they look at the opportunities after their studies. For example, post-study work permits, if they're getting jobs, employability, what's the trend of getting employment after completing a degree from that particular university. So I would say, if they're, in Pakistan, if I be very honest and raw about it, we always think about future prospects. If you are going to US, then, you might want to get work in US, you might want to get settled there. If you're going to UK, you will think in the similar order, because at the moment our economy is struggling, and people are looking into opportunities which would give them best future, including good employment, settlement, good quality education. Yeah.
All right. So now I would like to bring in Aisha over here. And so Aisha, in your experience, you've been here again over a decade as well. So what is that percentage, or approximate percentage, if you can actually quote numbers, of students in Pakistan that are looking at opportunities to go outside their country, particularly for higher education? And of course, if are there any preferred destinations also?
So thank you so much for asking this question. I have a very good example here because since I was previously working with one of the largest A-level schools in Pakistan, so I actually quotes, I can make a comparison as well.
Right.
So I remember when I started working back in 2014. I mean, like I can't really tell you. Like I used to get only a few students interested in exploring options outside the Pakistan, and their
Okay.
parents were also reluctant because they were not very sure, like if it's a good time for
Right.
a not very mature a child to send, somewhere in a
Right.
foreign
Right.
land where
Right.
there could be a lot of challenges, there could be a lot of troubles, and in Pakistan we have a culture where usually we are not that independent till we graduate from the university. We do our undergrad, and after that we start earning and all.
Right.
So
Right.
I mean, the trends, I've seen the transition in over the years. So if I go to 2014 till now, I have seen a lot of raise. Like it has been increasing every year.
Okay.
So I remember almost like out of, let's say, if the graduating class is 600 from my previous school, so I've seen, like, from number of students applying and then eventually going to a foreign university is always different. So it all depends, again, as it stated, like there are many reasons when they are picking up their options. So again, budget is one constraint. When we see the exchange rate, and then we do the calculations and see like where could we do. And another factor, as it stated earlier, about the stay back options, or the what do we have after we acquire a degree. So I mean, like, keeping all these factors in mind, then students decide if we should just go or not. Now, if I talk about the percentage, I would say, um, if let's say 50 students are applying, I'll just give you an example.
Right.
I can clearly say 20 to 25 or will definitely travel to different places. It could be US, it could be UK, it could be Hong Kong, it could be Europe, Turkey, Malaysia,
Mhm.
China, Japan. So these are the one of the popular destinations in Pakistan for the students. So I would say, like, it's almost like I have not a very big number right now in my current school, and I see like there is a lot of potential, and I have been in talks with the parents, and they're all almost willing to send their kids to multiple. So I would say like a ratio of 40 to something between 35 to 50%. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's encouraging to hear, particularly from place like Pakistan. Now, Itrat, I would like to bring you in back, and would like to understand, when you're talking to students, when you're talking to parents, what are some of those common questions that you come across? What are those common concerns that you come across when you are guiding students, when you are, counseling students? So, yeah, could you shed light on that, please?
Thank you, Khaja. Actually, when we are in the process of doing university applications, or we are counseling a student for study abroad, or their career options or university options, there are multiple questions. Some are from the guidance side, and some are from the career side. Because when parents are ready or planning to, or they are thinking about sending their child abroad, like Aisha said, there are plenty of things to consider, because a child of age 16, 17, 18 is not mature enough, and
Of course.
considering the kind of culture we have here in Pakistan. So
Mhm.
some parents they begin from asking very basic questions: where they will be staying, what kind of accommodations they would get, what are the modes of transportation, how will they get bank accounts, is it safe to send them abroad, how are
Right.
they going to manage, if they're
Mhm.
going to get internships or not, what
Mhm.
basically the question starts from security, safety, they go to cost, and then obviously after work, after education opportunities. So parents are nowadays more concerned about their future, like I said before, and obviously there's safety and security. back in 2015-16, we used to get questions, basic questions like if the kids are going to be safe or not. But nowadays children are more aware, parents are more aware, they do half of the research themselves also, which is a good thing. We have very well aware body of parents and students, which is, I mean, trends are changing. But yes, the questions begin from the cost of attendance, accommodation, security, safety, to budget and after work opportunities. Yeah.
All right, so that's very helpful to know actually, and I'm sure the attendees would be having a lot of takeaways from this discussion that already is very interesting. All right, so Aisha, for you, how much is the influence of parents when it comes to decision making? When you're interacting with students, do you think parents play a big role? And what is it that you experience when you are interacting with students?
Yeah, so I mean, again, it's a cultural thing, as I stated earlier. Like, parents are always a part of the decision making, particularly starting from the subject selection when they're starting their A levels to placing into the university. So, it has also changed, Khwaja, if I tell you, like over the years. Before it was like, having a conversation with the students throughout, and the parents intrude when we have to finally decide like if a student is traveling or not. So now
Right.
this time what I've seen, like, parents are involved from the very start.
From the
So
big.
they are discussing, they're talking about the prerequisites, okay,
Mhm.
which subjects, and if he wants to apply to Canada or the US, what could be the potential prerequisites or the combinations that we need to have. So this process starts quite early now, and the parents have been involved throughout, like in the in their profile building, from subject selection, and
Mhm.
I mean, like in everything. And of course, like, now in A levels, when students, parents meet us for the very first time about the subject selection, that is the time when we have this discussion of the budget as well. So, okay, fine. What exactly are you looking at? Again, putting in all the filters. Are you looking for a stay back? Are you just want to do, because there are many influential families like who really don't want to go and settle abroad. They want to come back in Pakistan and have their running businesses and stuff. So I mean, like they say, we just want to send him for the international experience, and we want the child to be back. So I mean, like, again, parents are involved throughout the process, from the subject selection to them placing into the university.
Right. So that's very interesting to know that there is this shift, parents getting involved right from the beginning. All right. And of course, I mean, Itrat or Aisha, feel free to, share your views on a question that is being asked to the other panelists, because I saw Itrat smiling there. So maybe if you had something, you please feel free to add to your view. I mean, with your views as well. All right, so Itrat, now I would want to know from you, uh, like, I mean, universities are flocking to Pakistan as well, and you're seeing this for so many years now. So, what do you think is the best way to connect? I mean, is it being on the high school campuses, interacting with students, or the fair format? Or virtual engagements, or a mix of things? So what do you think, what is the advice you want to send out to the university representatives?
Thank you so much. Basically, we had all kinds of interactions from university to students over the years, from fairs to university lectures and seminars and orientations. But recently, I have had few universities come in and they brought their professors from, for example, Faculty of Economics, Faculty of Mathematics, Faculty of Engineering. And that model really was, my students really enjoyed it. One of the professors from Macquarie University, Australia, he came and he delivered a lecture in economics. And believe you me, Khwaja, I had my engineering students sitting in the lecture, and they enjoyed a lot. They were taken aback by his way of teaching and delivering the concepts. So I think that this was very innovative. Recently, I had a vice chancellor from Canadian University visit our campus. In fact, it was just yesterday. So my students were extremely happy to have him on the campus, and they were, they want to meet the real faculty. They don't want to just meet the international office people because they've been seeing them for the years. They want to ask real life questions. They want to see the professors who are going to teach them. I know it's not very easy for universities to send the professors around all the time, but sometimes these things can be arranged. For example, I organized a webinar for my students, and it was on game theory. It was delivered by a professor again, and the students just loved it. And if I was to choose the second best option that is liked by students, they really enjoy university fairs, but they also like a follow-up visit. For example, Khwaja, if you are visiting my school, you met my students, then they want to see you in an orientation as well, where they could ask you more questions, because a fair is it's a quick thing. So they want to have the real conversations where they could ask you just anything. So I think the interactions which have connecting threads, those are the most wonderful ones. Yeah.
Well, that's very, very insightful. Actually, bringing in faculty. We've seen universities bring in faculty, especially for grad recruitment purposes. That's mostly that's been the case in most cases. But this is a very, very valuable insight that we get here from you, Itrat, of bringing
And
in
also, I would also like to actually
Sure.
give my feedback on that, since like I'm also organizing similar sort of workshops from the universities, and I believe like I definitely second what Ithrat said. Like I recently have engineering workshop by one of the faculty member at Queen Belfast, UK. And I can't even tell you this sort of engagement when we talk about engagement. So yeah, I mean, they were all invested in the activity. They organized an activity, and they also wanted to learn, like, and they kept them busy, they kept them engaged, and they now will remember the name of the university. So yeah,
Exactly.
I think it is one of the good things to do.
Right. No, absolutely. This is very, very, nice to know. All right. So Aisha, this question is for you. I mean, of course, we know a lot of cities that are popular: Islamabad, Karachi, Lahore, being the prominent ones. Do you think, or would you like to name a few more beyond these cities, and would like to share names of those cities?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, if you see Islamabad particularly, we have people coming from all different provinces, particularly KPK, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. We've got some good institutes in KPK as well, in Peshawar. Like, there are some good universities for engineering, and particularly when it comes to medicine. So, students are happy to be placed almost like any part of Pakistan, because all the public medical schools are all around. So we have a very famous medical college in Multan, Nishtar, and it is a very prestigious college. We've got like one excellent medical college, Ayub Medical College in Ahmedabad, and then there is a pharmacy college in Ahmedabad as well, where I've seen people even traveling from Islamabad there to study. And my brother also actually graduated from University of Peshawar. So we were living in Islamabad, but he chose to go there. So I mean, like I have a example, in family. My chacha is a graduate from National Medical College, um, Multan. So they've been on, and my aunt is also a doctor, and she's a graduate from Khyber Medical College. So I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Like people are, yeah, it depends on the major particularly. So I mean, apart from these three major cities, if it's medicine, they'll definitely travel. But other than that, like I think I have not really seen people traveling for other majors. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, Itrat, well, I mean, if we talk of popular curriculums in Pakistan as a whole, um, would you like to shed some light on the different kinds of curriculums that you will come across when we talk of school system in Pakistan?
Yes, Actually, in Pakistan, like I mean, we are pretty same as India. We have a national curriculum, which is where our students do grade 12 or college, and it's called FSC based system or the national curriculum system. Yeah, that's the most common one, and then there's A levels. And after A levels, I would say it's IB. And then we have other qualifications, for example, AQA, HNDs and other. But most famous is our national curriculum, which is called FSC or FA. And then we have A levels. So, but I would say that A levels is the most famous one after FSC, of course, because there's cost involved. A levels is handled by Cambridge, and you have to pay hefty amounts to appear for examinations. So we have good number of students doing A levels, but the most prominent one is, of course, the national curriculum. Yeah.
All right, all right. That's helpful to hear. All right, back to you, Aisha. I mean, of course, this is a trend that South Asia as a whole is experiencing, of campuses of universities coming into your own region. So, is there some kind of similar trend that you see happening in Pakistan? Like India is kind of opening up that ways. There are a lot of campuses in the Southeast Asia region. I mean, Malaysia and Thailand being two such destinations. And if yes, then how do you see that shift or interest of students, or the impact on students going outside Pakistan?
Yeah, so again, the shift is quite recent, if I tell you.
Right.
Again, it varies from person to person what exactly they are looking at. As
Mhm.
you know, we've been keep mentioning what are their priorities. Are they looking for a place where they would like to stay, or if there's a place they just want to go for the experience? So now, the good and interesting thing about these destinations is that, like, Murdoch, I had a session with Murdoch Dubai, and they were telling us, like, if you, because there is a lot of rejection rate from Pakistan for Australia. So I mean, like, that's what they suggest. They were suggesting, like, you go there, you study for 2 years, and maybe get a transfer to the main campus, and it's quite easier. So I think this could be one of the major attractions. Second, of course, a cheaper option in low tuition. You can get, of course, the same degree, because the degree is from the main campus. I mean, it's the name of Australian or UK or a US college. So this is also because, if they can't afford to pay for the main campus, and the desire is to get a good degree from a good renowned university, now the trends have been changed. And also there are many people, like, who are promoting these universities among different students, like in the schools. So we have, like, people based in Pakistan, who bring in and give us, and educate us as counselors as well, like, about these destinations and what could be the procedures. And they, um I mean, like, as far as I'll tell you honestly, Khwaja, like, I've seen, like, because we collect placement data of the students as well in the end. So students do travel. It's not like they don't go at all. I have a lot of students who went to Turkey, who went to Malaysia, who went to China, and they graduated, but the number is less.
Right.
So yeah, they are considering it now, but again,
Okay.
either they'll take a transfer to the main campus, or
Mhm.
the preference or the priority is always UK, Canada, Australia. I mean, like, these are the most popular destinations.
Right. Right.
I would like to add something here. While their transnational education or the sub campuses are famous among students, but
Mhm.
I think it's a good thing that we have more opportunities. Aisha would agree, and you would agree as well, because Pakistani universities, especially the top universities, are very competitive. It's not very easy to get into good universities if you
Right.
don't have good grades. Whereas these universities sometimes accept you when your grades are, not on the higher side. So this is also an opportunity, and I see it as inclusion.
Mm.
So when you have transnational education available in the country, and if for example, if not inside your country to Malaysia or other places, you're going for a foundation, I think
Right.
this goes back to the philosophy of inclusion. Our students who are struggling academically a bit, they also feel included and they can do their degrees as well. I think foundations and pathways are more famous than ever nowadays, and we have a good number of students going to these programs as well. And I think if we get more cheaper pathways and foundations, that's also good, because not all the students are doing very well in A levels nowadays. It has become quite difficult, I would say. Yeah.
No, and that's a very valid point that you have come up with. It is helpful, and it helps students who may, for whatever reasons, not have performed that well. And it is inclusive. So the open admission policies of certain institutions actually go a long way in helping such students and that cause. So definitely that is very, very helpful.
It's
So I would
another
like,
challenge, Khwaja. I'll quickly just add to
yeah,
it.
yeah, please,
Because the
please, please.
conversation has just,
Of course.
gone to the foundation and the pathways. But the
Mhm.
problem, and Itra can also vouch for it as a counselor for us, is to, since we're sitting in A-level schools, and we see at times students struggling with it. And, like we're all the time hesitant of introducing these foundation and the pathways. Like I've seen, like, it is highly discouraged in the school settings to promote these foundations. However, they cannot make it to A levels eventually. When they're out of the school, then they go and get into it. Otherwise, like if a person is struggling, like even in A levels, we usually cannot sort of recommend them for a foundation.
That's totally true. But getting admission with compromised grades in international year 1 or the first year of the degree is also easier with sub campuses and TNEs. That's also a point. Yeah.
Right. No, and so that's definitely very, very insightful. So I would like to stay with Itrat on my last question, and before I ask the question, I would like to call out to the attendees. Well, if you have any questions, then please feel free to write them down in the chat box area, so that the panelists can address those questions right after this last question. So please feel free to jot down your questions if you have any. And of course, we mentioned earlier, we are recording this entire session, and we will be sharing this with all the registrants. So that, of course, is rest assured. All right. So Itrat, my last question to you would be, and of course Aisha can pitch in as well. So how do you see your role as a counselor when university representatives are traveling and are interacting and are on campuses? So how do you see yourself supporting them? And I mean, I feel personally that it is extremely important for universities to connect with counselors, to get the on the ground, get an idea of on the ground situation, because you are the ones connected with students throughout the year. So how important is it to connect with you? So and what is that role that you play in this entire ecosystem of international education? So can you shed light on that, so that universities make it a point to connect with counselors and take this route?
Well, I would say I would have done much better in my life if I had a counselor for myself. That's something that I would quite easily say. Now, I think counselors, they actually serve as a bridge between universities or the international education institutions and school and the students, because Aisha can also attest that you have also observed over the time that counselors might change the school, but their connection with the universities remains same. So universities know us, they trust us whenever they have to get back to us or ask anything about our students, they can easily connect with us. So I think counselors are actually a bridge between universities and students. And also without a counselor, a student of age 18, 19 is not actually mentally that I would say they're very intelligent, but sometimes they miss on the details. They don't get the exact crux of the matter, or sometimes they don't understand the requirements, they don't understand the entire process. So I think the counselor and student role in any university placement is 50-50. I wouldn't even say it's 70-30. It's 50-50, because I don't think you can get into a good university, or you can map down a very good career for yourself without somebody's assistance. So if you have a professional trained people with experience who know universities, who know the ins and outs of choosing a university or the major, I think you're lost. So I would say, not just because I'm a counselor, but otherwise also, I think guidance and counseling is more important than ever, because we have over information. We have over information on the internet. Everyone is trying to get you into a particular program or university for their own interest. In that scenario, in that very setting, if you have your counselor who really understands the ins and outs of international education or the career prospects, then I think it's a blessing. And I would advise people who don't have career counselors available to connect to other people. Sometimes I get plenty of messages on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to guide people. And in fact, I started my own initiative, CCNI, just to help people who don't have career counselors available for them, so they can get advice. They can get a real life advice. That I started with an objective of giving back to my society, because in our schools, in our institutions, we work for, we get our salary and stuff, but some students, I would say 90% of the schools in Pakistan don't have counselors. They don't have career experts. But I hope and I wish that they all get professionally trained career counselors, so that students can make better career choices and they can reach better destinations and better places in their life. Yeah, that's my opinion on that.
Right. So I think that's very, very helpful. And like I said, if we have any questions, we'll be happy to take them. Our panelists would be happy to take them. And before we wind up, I would like to share with the audience, the university reps who are joining us tonight and today. For them, actually, we have these high school visits lined up for these different regions: the Latin America, India, Southeast Asia, Mexico, Pakistan, and the Middle East region. So, and of course, not to forget that it was extremely insightful to talk to these ladies, and I'm sure there will be many takeaways from this very, very insightful interaction that we've had so far. And we will be sharing with you this the recording for this interaction. And I have to mention this is the passion that they were talking of. Aisha, who is under the weather still because of the commitment, she is with us and was through all along. So thank you so much, Itrat and Aisha, for taking the time and joining us. It was very, very insightful, and I'm sure the university reps will have a lot to take away from this.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
so much.
Khwaja. It
It
was
was
a
an
pleasure
excellent
having,
one.
being with you here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Good
Ji,
night.
take care.
Yeah, take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.